Good morning. We are running late this morning. It's probably about 15 minutes before sunrise. The colour's already here. We are in quite a rush this morning. Took me a little bit longer to get here than I expected. We'll get some shots of this, gonna go for a low level shot. So I'm gonna shoot, say, at f11, I think. So, compositions. Well, he's gonna be the tree on there through to the trees over there. I've just focused up. I'm at 30th of a second, ISO 100. That's the base ISO for stills on this camera. I'll brighten it up a fraction. Okay, let's take a shot there. 2-second timer delay. So whilst we're watching the sunrise, the plan is now to do sunrise here, and then we're going to jump back in the van. We're going to drive maybe a kilometre down the road, maybe a mile down the road to, I think we're going to go to Millyford, Enclosure, and just walk around the tree area and the woodland area. That's made it worth getting up for this morning. You might be wondering why I'm all dressed in camouflage, which looks a bit ridiculous, I must admit, but it's rutting season with the deer. So if I come across any deer, I'm going to be very quiet and try and get some shots of the deer. I've got my long lens in the backpack. Right, let's pack up and head to the next site. I think we've lost the light here for the sunrise. I've driven around to Millyford Bridge Enclosure and just started walking along one of the paths, and there was a very strong pine smell as I approached this area. As you can see, they've been felling a lot of the trees here, and it's incredibly strong pine smell. I wish you could smell this. I'm kind of exploring. I haven't been along this section before, or this path before, so we're just going along and seeing what we see. Autumn's definitely here. Lots of trees that have gone yellow. Unfortunately, we've got high winds coming this coming week, next few days. So I fear that we're going to lose a lot of the great colour that we've got at the moment. Just done quite a long walk, carrying way too much kit, and Didn't take hardly any photos, if any, but I've just stopped because there's this nice little pond or pool here, and the roots of the trees look great, the reflection looks great, the leaves in the trees are just turning. So we're going to try and take a shot here. Not convinced it's going to be great, but we're going to give it a go. Thinking wide angle, so I'm thinking the GF30. So I'm just trying to decide composition now. And what I'm doing is the tree that's over there, I've got that pretty much in the centre of the pool. I can't go much further to the left. Well, I can, but without getting wet I can't. I'm not sure it's going to work because I've got this tree and the reflection here. I've stopped, I've got my bag off my back, let's give it a shot. Just needs a question of getting the tripod out. So I'm really undecided whether this should be portrait or landscape. I think either could work, but I'm going to go with portrait because I want to get as much of the colour of the trees in. I'm going to stop down to F13. We'll increase our exposure with the shutter speed, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab circular polarizer. Got quite a lot of reflections on the water, and I want to just have a play around to see if I want the reflections or I don't want the reflections. So I've had the circular polarizer stroke ND filter on my video camera most of the morning, but I'm nicking it for the still camera now. Yeah, it is having a little bit of effect. It's darkened it quite a lot, so I'm going to turn the ISO up a little bit. We are quite low, 250. Yeah, that's about right. So again, I'm checking my histogram, I'm checking the exposure. I'm about 2/3 of a stop under. So I've gone for quite a long exposure now. There is a little bit of tremoring on the surface of the water, so I'm just going to smooth it all out. Just been wandering around trying to look for interesting trees, and I found this tree here, where it has a limb that comes down, splits, and then splits twice again, and it's like fingers coming out at you. So I'm going to set up just over here, shooting into the fingers coming towards me. So I'm going to use the GF30 for this, and I want these two branches reaching out at the sides, out of the sides of the frame. Lots of leaves coming down with every puff of wind that we're getting. It's been pretty still this morning, but there have been the odd little gust, very small gust, and it's just been like raining leaves. See, you've got a slight gust and you've got loads of leaves coming down. Anyway, let's get cracking before these leaves totally disappear. Yeah, the bit that I don't like that I'm getting in the frame is the bit to the left here. I've got, I'll come in and show you. I've got the two branches coming out towards the top of the frame, but I can also see this bit here. If it looks awkward to me, it's just crossing over, and I'd like it to be either hidden or inside this branch, and it's to the left on the outside. So I've kind of got to come across this way to push it more in line so it comes down to a point and then up, but then this one doesn't come out quite into the top of the frame as I'd like, and this one's here is kind of obstructed with the trees behind it, which I don't particularly like. It's not clear enough, so I'm struggling with composition. It's a great branch, but I just can't quite make it work for my liking. Ooh, now might be onto something here. Okay, I'm going to come down lower. Now looking at this branch as this one here and here, there's almost a framing. Really, really tricky. Well, I think I'm going to take a photo there, but I'm not entirely happy with it. Just wandering back to the road and then back to the van. This tree in the centre here caught my eye. The light was shining on it and it's kind of like leaning towards the light. I'm going to get the tripod out and give that a shot. And I think I need to be shooting it from about here. Particularly using this tree and that tree as framing trees. So I'm switching to the GF110 lens. Okay, so we're f2, speed up the shutter speed a little bit. Okay, so I've been moving backwards and forwards a bit, left and right a bit. I want to get both of those trees in here. Focus is going to be pretty critical, as you can see that's right on the tree, because I'm going to be shooting f2 to try and isolate the tree as much as possible. We're ISO 100, 250 a second and f2. Let's take the shot. 2-second delay. I was just heading back, and when we're in the other field at Millyford Bridge Enclosure, there's an open area just in front, and there was a dozen or so deer absolutely chasing flat out with one stag. I had that camera in my hand, but I just wasn't quick enough. It was over and done within seconds, but it was a fantastic sight just to see them all herring along at breakneck speed. It was just fantastic. Called quits on that and started heading back to the van, walking along across the bridge. And this is a tree that I saw when I was walking that way earlier this morning. It was just like glowing in the middle of the woods here. And I thought, okay, I'll get a shot of that on the way back. And here we are. I'm on the GF30. I want a wide angle shot for this to get as much of this magnificent tree in as possible. The leaves are turning. There's some that are green, there's some that are yellow, as you can probably see behind me, and some that are obviously on the ground already. It looks brilliant. It looks fantastic. I'm very tired though. So let's get the shot. Unfortunately, this tree here to my left is interfering with the shot a little bit, and I've gradually moved around. I don't want to go up on the bank around to the right any further because then I'm too high. I want to be down low shooting up. I've just basically moved as far to the left and far forward as I felt I could, just to try and cut most of that tree off. There might be the one branch at the top that's just intruding, which is really annoying because it's top left corner and you can, yeah, it just draws your eye, or it's drawing my eye to it. Hopefully I can just about crop that out in camera or off camera if necessary. What a magnificent tree, look at that. I want a bit of depth of field, but not too much. If I overexpose, I'm losing all the colours. So let's go with that. Let's stay under. And then I'm going to do one slightly over. We might exposure stack them. So let's head back to the car and probably call it a day. So when I said we're heading back home, back to the car and back home, what I should have said is we're heading back to the van via the stream. I knew this was here, I knew I was going to stop, and I knew I was probably going to end up taking a photo. I did this last year. Oh. I'm going to shoot with the 30, and I'm going to go into XPAN mode again. I'm playing around with the composition there, and I wanted to try and get as much of the leaves in the trees as possible. They're all yellow here, a lot of them are yellow, but I also wanted the stream in, and I've put the polarizer on here, which is an ND, variable ND polarizer. So we're going to go for, that looks like about maximum polarization, and I'm going to darken it right up, and we can really go to, I'll go to F13 on this, and we'll go for a light exposure. So this is where we got the camera with the tripod as low as I can get it, and viewing the scene there. So yeah, we are kind of like heading home, but when I was here first thing this morning, I drove out the car park and saw this tree amongst the greenery. I thought that deserves a photo, so I knew this was going to be on the way back, so I thought, okay, I'll drop back in here as I'm heading home. Last stop, I'm expecting. Just a pity we've got the picnic benches in the way and signs and things. That was just virgin woodland, that'd be awesome. But then, if it was virgin woodland, probably wouldn't be a nice clearing for us to get a clean shot of it, and we'd be surrounded by pine trees blocking our view. So you can't have everything. Okay, so having taken the shot with the GFX 110, I've decided to go back to the GF30 and go into XPAN mode. So I'm going to go to F4 on this one, F5.6 I think. That's the focusing done. So the composition here is I'm trying to make sure that those two trees either side, I don't get any of the gap like I got there because it draws my eye out. So I want those to be framing the shot, but I'm trying to keep the top of the tree in, and I want that bit of the root in as well. I'd like a little bit more down here, but then I'll lose the top of the tree in this XPAN format. However, the wonderful thing about the wonderful thing about this camera is that the framing that I've got, the aspect ratio, and I think a lot of cameras probably do this as well, the aspect ratio is captured in the JPEG, but it's not captured in the RAW. So I get both the JPEG and the RAW. And the RAW will be the whole frame. So if I need to fine tune this in post, I'll be able to. Yeah, okay, so we need a little bit more light on it.